What if I told you that some of the biggest celebrities in the world are just average people? Today we are going to uncover famous footballers that you all never knew about. We all aspire to be great, not just better, but simply reach the top of our industry. And since celebrities have the highest status in their fields, we are going to unwrap the secret soccer kid that's within all of them. Meet Julio Iglesias, one of the greatest Spanish pop stars of this generation.
The former Real Madrid footballer Julio Iglesias.
Born on September 23, 1943, in the middle of Madrid, his father was a medical doctor. He began playing soccer since he was a kid, practicing with his friends and family. He went on to pursue a career as a law student, but he got into a serious car accident ending his athletic journey. He suffered a spinal injury and used that trauma to find another passion for music.
For me to go on a stage, if I don't go on a stage, I don't feel like I'm alive.
After years of singing in small clubs, he released his first album called Yo Canto, which contained a mix of English songs but in Spanish.
To be vulnerable in front of the people, I think that is the most attractive thing that an artist can have.
His music grew in popularity through the Latin cultures, and over the years he became one of the most successful artists in the world.
That the priest at your school said, don't think about singing, you should do football instead. Is that true?
Yeah, the priest was playing the piano and said, "Hey, Julio, come here. And come on, go play football."
He made hit songs in multiple languages, acted in feature films, and changed the world through his immense talent. Today, artists like Julio have evolved with pop culture, but they never forget their love of football.
You don't need to be the first in the school to be the president of the country.
Although Mr. Iglesias ended his career with trauma, there were two more artists in the world that you would never think would play soccer: Justin Bieber and Steve Harris. Two artists that have grown to the top of the music industry and have conquered more than they could ever dream. Steve Harris is a world-class songwriter for a heavy band called Iron Maiden.
One of the best bass players in the world.
But he never let music dominate his life. He enjoyed playing football in the streets of East London and found his favorite club to be West Ham.
Apparently when they're not singing about death and destruction, they really like to just enjoy the day off at a soccer field.
Yeah, we try and play a game, every 6-7 days, something like that.
The band Steve travels with is always on the road, but he always wants to play when he travels.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love the passion of playing. If anyone's played football, they know what I mean, but it's just the passion of going out and playing. Obviously at my age, every game is sacred. It's just like the gigs really, I suppose.
The band plays soccer together when they have downtime and find football as one of their escapes from the real world.
Because they heard FC Maiden wanted a scrimmage.
Beyond cool. This is easily once in a lifetime.
Unfortunately, Harris, referring to his bandmates, said they're not footballers.
No, they're not footballers. They're just not. No, they're just. It's a shame because I would have them out playing every week.
He found it sad that his mates were not as talented as him, but managed to move on.
So that's good, but it's a shame. I'm always looking for, and I'm always looking to recruit any crew. If they got half a chance of playing football, then they're in.
The band made a group decision to never make a song about football because they knew how confusing it could be to a world where many interpret it as soccer.
Yeah, we call this soccer here in the States.
Yeah, of course you do, yeah. Well, we don't call it that. It's called football because you kick it with your foot.
Music influenced Harris the most since he was a little kid, but for Justin Bieber, this was not the case. Justin Bieber grew up in Stratford, Ontario, Canada, where his career rapidly exploded with his one-hit song, Baby. He took over the charts of YouTube and continued to dominate the pop industry. Ever since he was little, he loved to stay active and enjoyed playing sports with his friends. In 2011, he did a training session on the Barcelona training grounds. The football and music industries frequently find themselves overlapping, and even the biggest stars still love the world's beautiful game. But the story of Evo Morales is more remarkable than any boy could have wished. The former president of Bolivia was born in Oruro in 1959 to a hard-working family. He spent his childhood years in fields, going to school, and playing football. He brought a strong presence whenever he stepped on the field, but his leadership continued off the pitch. He moved around to continue school, where he worked as a mason, a baker, and a trumpet player. He played in a Royal Imperial Band but did not finish high school. He completed his mandatory military service and returned back to the chaos of Bolivia. In 1980, the climate became insufficient and production failed. During one of the summer to winter transitions, a famous wipeout called El Niño took charge. It killed 50% of all livestock and destroyed 70% of crops. The following year, Evo was named secretary for the sports in his union. He suffered years of criticism, went to prison, and was almost sentenced to death, but that didn't stop Morales. He eventually found his way to the top of the government, where he was able to work 2 terms as president. Evo led his country in the movement of socialism, and the goal was to eliminate differences between the North and the South, recover ownership of all natural resources, and put an end to discrimination. In 2007, he launched a program with financial donations from the former president of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez. He used the money to build soccer fields, sports centers, schools, and even hospitals. He launched a bunch of youth soccer programs, and in a 2018 interview, Evo said that there have been 1,700 fields that have been built in the last 10 years under his program. After his presidential career, Morales still had the ambition to pursue his dreams in football, and made his professional debut in 2014 at the age of 54. According to the Wall Street Journal, he signed to a local soccer club on the east side of Bolivia, but he only played a handful of matches.
Check this out. You're watching a soccer match. The knee actually belonged, get this, to Bolivia's president.
Evo Morales?
Yes. So the game ends, it's a 4-4 tie. 2 players from each side ended up being ejected. The president was not one of them, but the player who fouled him apparently was.
That's a red card.
I was going to say, isn't this a red card?
That's not a tough call.
It's truly an inspiring story that warmed the hearts of South America. But did I mention that Will Ferrell is also a big football fan? The owner of LAFC and a fan of the game. Will grew up just like all of us.
I started playing soccer when I was 8 years old.
He played when he was little, found his passion, and the rest was history.
I'm a part owner of the LA Football Club.
Well, I'm on a recruiting trip for LAFC.
LAFC!
He met the majority owner, Larry Berg, on the playground of the school their kids mutually attended. They both shared the love of the sport, and after several conversations and numerous emails, he believed in the process and found LAFC to be the powerhouse he loved.
Old Trafford, Manchester United's stadium, 75,000. I played soccer in front of 75,000 people, which makes no sense. I was on the rest of the world team. It's England versus rest of the world. And then I popped my hamstring, and I literally had to hobble off the field. You know, I thought the coach would be like, I'm so sorry, I should have taken you out. But he's the former coach for Liverpool last year. His comment to me was like, hey, Will, when I saw you hobbling off the field, I was wondering if you were gonna audition for one of your Hollywood cowboy movies. And then just had a huge laugh and just walked away.
He'd be the worst coach.
Why?
Because they could be down 20. Don't worry, guys, you're doing really good.
His family and friends that never touched a ball in the late 70s are now massive fans today.
Let's get ready to play, huh? I want you to play dirty if you have to, but don't get caught.
From actor to businessman, Will Ferrell is an unbelievable character over the years, but for the superstar Kobe Bryant, this was not the case. Kobe Bryant is undeniably one of the most talented, hardworking, and disciplined athletes of all time. Whether it's basketball or soccer, it doesn't matter.
No, I don't miss it, but I do enjoy coming and watching how some of the best players in the world prepare.
He loved to compete, work hard, and learn, and keep training. He grew up in Italy as a child, and soccer became his favorite sport.
They said, do you know how to play? No, not really. Okay, you got long arms, long legs, just stand in the goal. Don't let any balls get by. That's what I did for like a good year and a half.
He stopped playing it at 14 when he switched to basketball. He worked incredibly hard over the years and won 5 championships with the LA Lakers.
How do you compare the environment of a World Cup to the NBA Finals?
It's the NBA Finals, times 10.
He always respected soccer, but terribly passed away in 2020. He was influenced by all the top athletes.
The footwork element, that was countless times of getting cussed out by Kobe about trying to do something the right way. So all that came from him, just his analogies and his metaphors, where he used to say certain things to me I didn't understand probably till a year later after he told me something. He spoke in codes, and it was on you to figure it out. You know, he was one of the first ones that made me start paying attention to fucking soccer. Like, look how they run, how they this, how they, you know what I mean? It's like, I've never played soccer or watch. He said, just watch it, you know? And over time, you start to understand a lot of stuff he talked about. And from the footwork aspect, I got the majority of that from Kobe.
He's one I look up to each and every day, even though I don't follow basketball.
In the game of basketball, in life, as a parent, Kobe left nothing in the tank. He left it all on the floor.
The Mamba mentality lives on, and from one basketball star to another, Kevin Garnett is another fan of football. Kevin was born May 19th, 1976, in Mullidoon, South Carolina. He played sports when he was young, but found basketball to be his favorite.
MVP, Kevin Garnett.
He played basketball for his high school in South Carolina, but in his senior year he transferred to Chicago. He grew to be 6'11" and broke records in the NBA.
I didn't know you guys were this short, man. I was like, y'all fast as shit, though.
He was picked by the Minnesota Timberwolves as the 5th overall selection, becoming the first athlete out of high school to be drafted by an NBA team in over 20 years.
But I'm just sitting up here thinking about, man, if the NBA played a game in here, how electric it would be and how the lights look in here, and just the kind of atmosphere and this is the kind of places you want to play in, you know what I'm saying?
The power forward became more interested in soccer later later on, and found the Premier League to be his favorite.
I love football. I love watching soccer. Love it.
The London Blues came to speak to Garnett, and soon enough he was wearing Chelsea on his shirt.
Yo, are you serious? Well, yeah, man, I'm a huge fan of y'all, man.
Today, sports have become mainstream, and athletes around the world are looked up to as kings and queens. But for Jon Stewart, however, his story was a little different. Jon grew up in New York in the 60s and 70s and found himself through comedy. He enjoyed sports and football, but without his father present, life became much harder for Jon. He began working at an early age, trying to make a name for himself, but decided on going to college. He wanted to play in college, but was overconfident in his ability. He tried walking on St. William and Mary's men's soccer team as a freshman, but got denied. He got pushed to the junior varsity team, only to be brought up the following year.
I think his expectation was probably that he was going to be on the team right away, but that was a very good team, and Jon was relegated to the club team, was kind of functioning as a JV.
He was primarily a winger, very fast, and scored the only goal against Connecticut, giving his school a spot needed in the NCAA tournament.
If it hadn't been for him, I would have become a better soccer player, and then who knows how poorly my life would have turned out.
As a 5'6" footballer, Jon never had it easy, and although his college career finished, he never forgot about the beautiful game.
All I ever wanted in my life was to be a professional footballer. It's all my dad ever wanted, and I've been a crushing disappointment. So this is actually technically as close as I've ever got to what, as a child, I envisioned doing in my life.
But now Jon is a successful comedian, writer, and talk show host.
The Jon Stewart Show.
And yet with all the success, nobody in the universe had the vibe of Bob Marley. The musician started playing football ever since he could walk. Born in Jamaica, he enjoyed kicking it around, stringing his guitar, and smoking weed all night long. Bob always believed in respect, and his biggest fear was if he disappointed others.
Bob Marley's music, when I was younger, didn't mean much because I wasn't taking in the lyrics. But as I grew older, I started to kind of understand his message, especially since my dad would sit me down and talk me through it.
When he died in 1981, he was buried with several possessions that had the most meaning and value in his life. First was his red Gibson guitar, the next was a bud of marijuana, the third was a Bible, and the last one was a football. This is what made up Bob Marley, one of the most talented to bring good vibes anywhere he went.
It's a great feeling when you enter the pitch and everybody's happy with the song. You see everybody can run more. Yeah, it's about to fly.
His music takes out the stress of everyone's life, but for Gordon Ramsay, this was not the case. The energetic boy was brought up in the terraces of Ibrox, watching Rangers with his uncle. He began playing at an early age and made it to a club called Oxford United. He played fullback and identified himself as a cutthroat defender. If one may go past, then so be it. But never again will a forward get in behind on a second occasion. A scout told his family to move back to Scotland and give Gordon a chance at the youth academy. Although his father is a Rangers fan, he told Gordon that the game is too violent. He had a trial at the age of 15, but his career fell short to too many knee injuries.
I got released on the back of an injury, smashed my cartilage, and then they said they'd keep an eye on me, but that's just a polite fuck off really, that's all.
His ligaments could not compete, and Gordon had to retire from his dreams of being a professional footballer. But that did not stop Gordon Ramsay's incredible ambition, as he worked his way up, becoming one of the greatest chefs in this generation.
Any form of pain that I experienced here was eradicated when I won my 3rd Michelin star. And had I not had the upset in football here with Ibrox, I don't think I'd be the chef I am today.
And as a young kid looking back, he may not have been a professional footballer, but he was able to meet some of the best through his cooking. David Beckham being one of many Gordon has met along his journey. And if you all do enjoy hearing from these icons, I made a series of videos comparing creators to footballers.